Alright, Mr. Miyagi-Style. Happy Friday, everybody. I haven't been back for a week. I've been on vacation in Cuba. I just got back last night, so lots to catch up on. I'm just going to cover two things. I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. I'm going to time myself 30 minutes. Few things. You guys have already heard of the new firmware out. Major improvements, I think anyways. You guys already know there's been a couple of videos out describing what the new firmware is, the changes, the issues. One of the biggest requests for the for this camera, the Ace Pro, was the HDR, the optional HDR to turn on and off. They've made it into the top menu item now, so instead of automatically changing it to HDR when you do 4K 30 and below, so now you can shut it off. I was kind of hoping they would activate HDR for the other modes, i.e. 60, 100 frames, 120 frames, and even 8K, but I think they put it on top. I think they're probably going to open up in those modes, so let's see if that happens in the future firmware update. The other thing was to the sharpness. They've increased the sharpness to one tier up, so now you have low, medium, high, and highest, which is kind of cool. If you want something that's really over sharpened, you can do that. It's really, I tried it, it really over sharpens. It's almost too sharp. I keep mine at medium now, so it seems to be a good medium for the video recording. That's been covered as well from videos from other people. I just got the firmware last night. I was at the airport. I just got the notification, so I didn't do my firmware update until last night, so I had a little chance to play with it a little bit. The other thing that was missed that the people didn't cover was the presets. Default values. So I had a member, I hope you're watching this, I couldn't find you, I tried looking for you last night, I don't know where you are. If you're watching this, you're the gentleman that does the mountain biking, that has the helmet that has a chin mount. You were talking about, because you shoot in 2.7K, and you use voice command to take a photo and then record video. So what was happening with you is that when you set at 2.7K, you told it to take a picture, and when you go back to record a video, it would default back. Ace Pro default back to 4K 60 frames, I think that's the default. So you had to actually take it off and manually go back to 2.7K. So that issue's been addressed. It doesn't do it anymore. I tried it last night. That was one of the things I talked to them about. And so it no longer defaults to the 4K 60 frames that the Ace Pro does now. So let's say if you set to one video mode, and then you use voice command to say take a photo, and it takes a photo in either 12 megapixel HDR or 48 megapixel, and then you say start recording, it'll go back to the video that it was recording before that, and vice versa with the photo as well. So that's been addressed, and I don't think anybody covered that. So if you're reading this, try it out. It's been addressed. The other thing they didn't get to was renaming presets, which I wish they did, but I think that'll come. It's just text, so I see that probably in the future. I hope they're watching this. I know one of the Insta360 reps follows my channel, and I think he's been watching this. It's a great firmware update. There's been a lot of improvements. The other thing that wasn't mentioned is the photo modes. It's a lot faster now. So before, when I take a photo, whether it's in 48 or 12 megapixel HDR, there was a lag in between shots, so it took longer because it was saving. I thought it was my memory card at first, so I got a really fast memory card, and it improved the speed a little bit, but it still was a little slow to take the second picture. Now it's almost instantaneous. So when you take it, flashes, throws it up on top, and then you can take another one. Which is really cool. So they've improved the speed of taking photos as well. Okay, so that was something that wasn't mentioned. We all know that they've activated clarity zoom, but it's only in the 12 megapixel HDR. Just because it's using the 8K sensor with clarity zoom. An 8K equivalent to megapixel is 35 megapixel. So at 48 megapixel, they don't have the clarity zoom. But it'd be kind of cool to get that double zoom, even if it has to downsample to 35 megapixel. I would rather that I could be in 48 and then do clarity zoom, get a 35 shot of that's still pretty good, double X, rather than going to 12 megapixel and then shooting 12 meg and then going to clarity zoom to do that, right? So that's something maybe they can activate to have the clarity zoom, even if it downsamples. I'd be happy with that as long as we have that option. I'm not jumping from mode to mode. So that's one thing. Other than that, I think a lot of it's been covered by other people. Speedier. I think there was an issue with the DJI Mic 2. It doesn't work anymore after the second last firmware. I think he said that they're gonna fix that in the next firmware coming up. So keep an eye out on that. As far as I can see, the sharpness has been changed. There's a few things that they changed the interface a little bit as well. I really like it now because there's more on the right hand side now to deal with. They haven't changed the low light stabilizer in terms of default, so I can see why they didn't do that, because I think the reason why is because when you have low light stabilizer on, you shut off the camera and turn it back on, it automatically shuts off the low light stabilizer, because that's something you don't want on all the time, because it will drain battery and it will degrade your quality because it is a stabilizer, right? It's only really used for low light conditions or night conditions. I only use it in pure video mode, to be honest with you. It makes a big difference. You don't get as much jitters when you're doing quick movements with the low light stabilizer on. So yeah, I can see why they didn't change that, because they don't want it on if you're shooting during the day, because it would actually drain your power. That said, I don't think there's anything else that I can think of, unless you guys can think of anything else. Those are the main ones: the HDR, clarity, zoom, the preset default has been addressed. I still wish they put the percentage sign on the on the battery icon. It'd be nice. You can only see the percentage in the app if you connect it to the camera, which is kind of a pain, because now I have to pull my app out and see how many percentage I have. Which brings me back to this thing. So I've been using this for a week at the resort, and I really like it. This is the first time I've actually taken it out and used it in a real world environment. Unfortunately, we had a bad weather spell when I was in Cuba. We had a cold front move in the week that we're there, and then the day we left, the cold front left and it got hot, and everything was calm. But we weren't able to dive because the resort has shore diving, and shore diving is meaning that you have to actually walk out with your equipment in the water instead of taking a boat and drop you off in the water. Because it was so rough, the winds, that you wouldn't be able to do shore diving effectively. So they've canceled the diving all week, which is a bummer, because I really want to take this underwater. I did get it into snorkeling a couple times. Wasn't deep, but I've got a ton of footage, so I'll try and release as much as I can. I literally have 96 videos I did with the Ace Pro, so there's a lot, not to mention the pictures. I have a lot to go through, but I'll post them as I go. There's a lot of night footage, and you guys have got to see the night footage. I'm really quite impressed. So I found a trick. So there's been some complaints, not complaints. Some of the competitor users are saying, "Oh no, it doesn't stabilize very well at night. Oh, it jitters." It's such a stupid argument, because the only time you're gonna see the jitters if you're doing quick movements with your hand while the camera's in hand. When it doesn't jitter, the video is dead on, and you'll see I've got tons of night footage where there's two things that I did. The first one was, I have a selfie stick that's quite long, so I actually propped it on the floor and used it as a monopod. And when it's on that stick and it's against something, it's like being on a tripod. It's perfect, the video. Now you'll see the jitter, and that's when I rotate the camera quickly, you'll see that little bit of a jitter, right? So that's the only time it really happens. It's because of that. And there's another video that I posted at night. It was pitch black. They had a spotlight. It was a ceremony, Canon shooting the Canon in Cuba at the walls of the barracks, and I had it in my hand holding it, and I was shooting still for I think 18 minutes, and you'll see majority of that 99% of that video is perfect. Yeah, when I moved my hand to kind of move around, it jittered a little bit, right? You have to understand that the reason why it does is because the camera is actually denoising, degraining in real time, and it's recording onto the card. So yeah, those jitters will happen. Same reason that DJI Action as well, DJI Action 4, when you see it at nighttime and you move that camera, it just completely, it vibrates and jitters. It's really bad. And even with the same sensor that the DJI A4 has, it doesn't have the CPU that this one has to back up and do that denoising in an effective manner. That's why it fails, because it's still good in low light with the DJI 4. It just doesn't have that CPU to run that denoising and clear that up quick enough. That's why you're seeing that unusable jitter in the DJI Action 4. GoPro, I'm not even going to go there. They can't even do it, period. GoPro, when the sun goes down, it's a useless piece of equipment. You might as well just use it as a paperweight or a hand warmer. So that's not even a comparison. The direct comparison to this camera is DJI 4. Anyways, I won't get too much into that. I've beat that dog to death, and I'm just tired of people saying, oh, it jitters. You know what? They would rather have zero footage than footage that's 95% good with the 5% of jitters. This is the kind of mentality that I'm dealing with, right? And I keep seeing people making the same comments. They would rather have nothing than the little bit of jitter, okay? Which is the stupidest argument ever, right? Anyways, you know who we are, whatever. And it is an action cam. For the people who say it's not an action cam, I used it in action. I went snorkeling with it. I was hiking with it. It was fine, no problems. I had a dive housing on all the time. I'm paranoid. I will always have a dive housing on when there's salt water around. It's just that simple. And if you, as you can see, you'll see the video that I'll post. I didn't see any quality degradation using that dive housing. And I even had a tempered glass on mine through the dive housing, so I had no issues with quality at all. And you'll see that, and I'll post the videos as I go. Okay. The other thing I really enjoyed was battery. This was something that really concerned me because I didn't have an extra battery. So I had the OEM battery came with it, and I'm always around the resort with a waterproof bag. And my waterproof bag always contains a few things: 3 cameras, my snorkeling equipment, a towel, and a battery bank, and my phone. Now the battery bank I use mostly for my phone because I have a Pixel 7 and it has a small battery, and I'm constantly draining that battery. It's a great phone, but the battery sucks on those phones, right? So I'm always charging my phone. Now I had a couple times in the resort where it actually went down to about 1/4 the battery on the Ace Pro, and I actually plugged the power bank into my Ace Pro. 10 minutes I had it charging, and when I unplugged it and I looked at the battery, it was almost full. So the 10-minute gave me, this was probably mid-afternoon because I've been shooting all morning. So this is probably early afternoon. When I plugged in, I got 10 minutes out of it. I just went for a drink, came back, and it was almost fully charged. You don't realize how great fast charging is until you actually are out using the camera in that environment where you can't plug it in anywhere. There's no wall jack around, right? And in Cuba, it's very sparse. That's another story. So it was kind of cool to plug it in for 10 minutes. I went, got a drink with my friends, came back, drank, looked at the thing, it was almost fully charged. It was about 10 minutes. Then I plugged it, gave me the rest of the day and evening to use my, it didn't even take that much charge off my power bank. So it's really cool. And you don't know that until you actually use that battery to that extent. With DJI, I believe DJI A4 has quick charging as well, so I don't know. I don't have the DJI A4. I don't know how fast it charges and how much it charges in 10 minutes. But this quick charger is phenomenal. I have a friend who has GoPro 12. He says it's just ridiculous that there's no quick charging in GoPro, especially for their larger capacity batteries. It takes forever to charge. That's why he carries 4 or 5 batteries with him, right? Which is ridiculous. You know, for a camera that's in this generation and they've had so much years to work on, they still don't have quick charging. And these guys do, right? Like DJI has it, Ace Pro has it. It's crazy. Anyways, I think that was all that I want to cover here. As for the firmware, great firmware update. I can't wait till the next one. I'm hoping I've sent a few more things to them to uplist this thing for them to kind of. I hope they're watching this video because there's some ideas I would like to see them change. But they're going on the right track. It's nice to see that Insta360 is actually listening to their customers and making the changes and addressing issues. Anyways. So I got back. I got a nice surprise. I got a few accessories to review. I want to post some videos from my trip. I've got some aftermarket accessories as well as Insta360 accessories. I'll go through the aftermarket and I'll go through the Insta360 and I'll just cut this video off because I don't want it to be too long. I'm trying to cut everything down to half an hour at the max. I know you guys get bored really quick. My DJI mini drone mount came, so I got it on my mount. It's just a little belt thing that clips on, and you can strap a camera onto it. So hopefully I'll get a chance. It's been raining here. It's crazy. We went from -20 to 5 degrees in 2 days. So it's kind of crazy weather here. I got the 43mm, which I ordered a million years ago. It's a 43mm diopter +4. I don't know if I'll use it. It was only $4, so I'll probably just get filed away. The important thing I got was, some people were asking for this, was the battery. So I ordered a generic battery. It says on the box, it is a quick charge battery, and it is an 1800 milliamp. Now I believe the battery comes with the Ace Pro's a 1650. Usually when they say with these Chinese brands, when they say 1800, you can minus a couple hundred. I don't know how they rate it. Who knows? But I had it on yesterday and I plugged it in and I charged it and it seems to work fine. Comes with a nice little case, but in honesty, will I use this? Probably not. It'll just be sitting in my thing as a backup. If that quick charge works that well, and I have my power bank, there's no reason for me to use this unless I'm in a real jam to use the battery. But it works well. No overheating problems. I've sold cameras for a long time, and I've been using generic batteries for probably 20 years now, and I've had countless generic batteries. I've never had issues with them. As far as I'm told, there's only 3 companies or manufacturers that make power cells, like lithium polymer batteries, lithium ion batteries, and they're all in China. And if you look at any battery, whether it's a Samsung phone or a Nikon battery or even the GoPro batteries, they're all made from China, right? And they usually come from one of those factories. Okay. What they do is, I got this from an inside rep from Sony years ago. So the batteries come from the same source. What they do is they pull the batteries out, they relabel them with their warnings, their blah 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 whatever, and then they rebrand them. Okay, and then they up the price. So that's how this works. They're all the same batteries. There are some factories that cut corners, and that's why they don't last as long, or they always overrate the milliamps, right? But we shall see. Like I said, this is not my main battery. This is going to be a backup for me. I'll always have the Ace Pro one in the camera. And like I said, if the quick charge works that great, there's no reason for me to actually use this. I'd rather just carry a power bank, plug it in for 10 minutes, I got the rest of the day. Anyways, that's that for the battery. Next up, I got some goodies to show you. I got the quick release mount. I'll do a review on this. The nice thing about this is I have the one from Insta360. I have the V-Rig one, and I actually ordered another one that's a generic but has no brand on it, and it looks like it's actually kind of neat looking. That the locking mechanism is a little different. So once I get all 3, I'll do a review on those. I have the vertical mount, the bracket. I have this is something I've been wanting to try. I have something a generic on a Tellison one of this one. It's okay. I'm eager to try the one from Insta360 and see what the quality is like on these. But so far I've seen good reviews with this and people like it, so I'll give that a crack. I also have the quick reader, which is something I wanted to try. I'm not sure what the application is going to be for this. It's really to read SD cards and plug it in. It's like an extension. I don't see what the use would be, but I'll do a review on it and see if there's any advantages to using this. The only problem is you have to pop the battery door to use this, and I really don't like taking apart doors and keep doing that because it's plastic. It eventually will wear out, right? So that's something I'll go through. There's the oh yeah, as a diver, of course, I have the goofy orange floaty thing. GoPro has the same thing. And I have the suction cup mount. I strap it on my car and see how that works. And this is the one thing I've been really looking forward to do is the GPS remote. This is something I could really use. I'll do a review on it. There's been a couple reviews on this already, but for me, there's a lot of times where my camera will be away from me and I can't see it, and I can't. The nice thing about this, I can turn it on, and I could frame my shots, record just off the watch module, the module, which is great because sometimes my camera's behind me, mounted on my weapon when I'm hunting. So anyway, so I'll do a review on this, and unfortunately it is a very pricey item. It's not cheap, but now that, oh yeah, the other thing too, the firmware opened up compatibility with the cheaper remote. So the one that doesn't have the screen now, because I was going to get that one because I just needed something to remotely change settings and take videos, and I was going to buy that remote, but it wasn't compatible with the Ace Pro. So the last firmware, the new firmware actually made it compatible. So you can actually, if you want a cheaper alternative, I think it's $100 in Canada. This one's $210. So you can buy the cheaper one and work with the Ace Pro. So that's a good alternative if you want something remote for the Ace Pro. I'm gonna close off here with one thing. The other thing that people are saying that the price was always an issue with this. Everyone said, "Oh, it's more expensive than the GoPro or the DJI 4, blah 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 blah." That's normal. Being in the cameras industry for a long time, selling cameras. When anything launches, doesn't matter what company, every company does this. It's a marketing scheme, not scheme. It's a marketing thing, right? Anything that new comes out, whether it's a camera or it's a tablet or whatever, you're always going to get charged a premium price, okay, launch price, okay, and it's always going to be more. That's straightforward. GoPro does it, so does DJI. When GoPro first came out with their 12, it was more expensive than what it is now. Same with DJI 4. That's the same thing with Ace Pro. Everybody goes, more expensive, of course, because it's a new product. It just came out. You're competing with a product that's 4, 5, 6 months old. Yeah, it's going to be more. So that said, if you check the price now, the Ace Pro has actually dropped their price. So they're past that launch period. Because if you want the latest toy now, you're going to pay a premium for the latest toy. So I just checked. In Canada, I bought the Ace Pro for $615, which is premium price, launch price, right? I think it's down to $585 now. So it's dropped $40, almost $40. So that seems to be the more competitive pricing now, right? It may drop more 3 months from now, but it's more competitive in line with the GoPro 12 and the DJI A4 now. Because I think the DJI A4 for me here, it's about $599, $579. So it's right in line, and I think the GoPro is about $579 as well. Canadian prices, right? So yeah, so we've seen a price drop as anticipated. The hype is all over, so now they're starting to drop their price in a more competitive manner. Anyways, so that said, I don't think there's anything else. I think I covered as much as I can, the things that weren't covered with the new firmware, because there's been a few reviews of people covering the zoom, clarity zoom, the important things, HDR, clarity zoom. That I just want to cover the preset and default part, which nobody has covered, and I've noticed that they've addressed that issue, and the compatibility with the original remote, the non-color remote. Anyways, guys, I'll kill it here. My time is running out. I'll talk to you in a bit. Keep posted. I'm gonna start posting some sample videos of my trip and reviews of the stuff that I have, third party, and also the Insta360 accessories. Anyways, peace out, guys. Chill out. Respect.